Hi, I'm Carissa Castro, co-founder and CEO of Logica. Logica helps finance teams with forecasting and budgeting. Our software provides a drag and drop interface that makes collaboration easier while connecting data sources to accounting and analytics software to be able to compare plan versus actual. Deciding to start Logica came about from our own prior experiences from more the large enterprise world. My background is actually chemical engineering, and I spent about 10 years working at Cargill in some of their largest manufacturing plants. So I've got to experience the Excel world of budgets and planning with a lot of the very complex processes. And while I got really good at it, I also still ended up spending a lot of time doing a lot of non-value added work, copying and pasting and, maintaining things. And then my co-founder, Leandro, he has a technical background as well, computer science and mechanical engineering. He co-founded a software company called Multimechanics, also about 10 years ago. Really interesting kind of deep tech software that ultimately they raised venture capital, and that company was acquired by Siemens in 2019. And it was a really interesting journey. He also experienced it, but from the kind of coming from the early stage, starting your own company, bootstrapping, and then having to manage finances all in a spreadsheet, and yet grow as the company grows. And he and I actually joined forces. I ended up working at Multimechanics for several of those years. And so we kind of got to experience that even together, how much the financial model itself was a central tool that companies use at different phases, right? Even through the M&A process. And yet so much time goes into, like I said, kind of that non-value added work. And very little time at the end is actually using the financial model to make decisions and actually leverage that. So really we wanted to flip that and really allow the people that are already doing this to have way more of their time be in the actual value added, analyzing and making decisions. I'm super excited about the future of Logica in a couple of dimensions. I mean, in general, I see Logica growing all the way to become a public company. There's several, the whole enterprise software world is really exciting. And I think there's a lot of potential for growth. And I'm also really excited about having a company and growing, both Leandro and I, building a company here in Nebraska that can last, and that can really make an impact on the ecosystem in all the meanings, right? In terms of jobs and it's an exciting time for kind of the startup world here, with a lot of great companies that are, evolving and even new ones starting. And so I definitely see Logica playing a big role in the local ecosystem. Yeah, being a part of YC has been incredible already, and it's really just beginning. We went through the winter batch that culminated in demo day just a few weeks ago. And I think one of the biggest takeaways already is just how much we've gotten inspired by people that have gone before us, right? There's a ton of outstanding alumni, founders and companies that have gone through YC. Airbnb, Dropbox, Stripe, GitLab. I mean, you could just, the list goes on, and getting kind of that kind of new network and new kind of exposure to what's possible, where you can see, much more up closely that, each in their own way and going through their own journeys, it's possible. And so it's just been amazing to get that exposure. And really, we see it as a huge resource that we'll continue to be able to draw upon as we go through different phases of, where a lot of people have done it before. So it's really exciting. Yeah, MBF was an awesome partner, even from early on. And it was a great timing when we were kind of getting going. To really help us accelerate, some of the early product development when, there's just a lot of iteration that you have to go through. We still do it now, of course, but it was just at a really good timing for us to be able to really accelerate that and really get some of the early traction that we had in terms of early users and customers. I think it's awesome. I think it totally makes it real in terms of whether it's, students that want to ultimately become investors. I mean, of course, it's very direct experience, and you get to kind of see and get that early on. I think that's awesome. But I also think for students that maybe someday want to be founders and more on the entrepreneur side, you still have a hugely valuable experience by being in the investor seat at that, as a student, where you can, a huge part of becoming an entrepreneur and being successful is understanding kind of the investment landscape and what do investors look for. And having been on that, wearing that hat in a very real, tangible way, I think is outstanding.